Wow. When something is just constantly being paired with comedy and you're constantly laughing it off, you don't see how serious of a matter it actually is. You can't know how to stand up for yourself in an environment where you are punished for standing up for yourself. The knuckles with a ruler. You don't know pain. You don't know pain, and you should be thankful that you don't. Most of the time, people will laugh things off because you don't actually realize how traumatizing it is until you truly sit down and you're like, eh. Now, by the way, why were we going through some of those things? What exactly was going on? Welcome back to yet another episode. I hope that you are doing well. I hope that your week has been amazing and that your weekend is off to an amazing, wonderful start. Today, I am finalizing my 844 series. The question is, does 844 normalize abuse? Does it perpetuate fear? Do we ever have these conversations? Again, I'm talking from my own perspective because I don't know how the other African systems work. But let me know what your experience was like, just as I talk about mine, or just even from watching the other videos, which I hope you have. So yeah, today I will be talking about these things. You know, sometimes it's easy to have these conversations after you've gone through it, because like now I'm actually conscious to recognize what those things were, because when I was younger, definitely did not even know that a lot of these things were problematic. So let me get right into it. The first thing that, okay, so also a lot of this is going to be centered around primary school, because again, that was the majority of my experience, and I feel like primary school is where people experience the strictest teachers. I don't think high school is like that. High school, like, the teachers are strict. It's just not the same as primary school. And that's also based on my experience. The primary school system had very strict teachers, overly strict teachers. Because I've talked about this, I feel like you should just watch these things in order, and even if you don't, it's okay, you can go back and watch. The reason why I say overly strict teachers are a problem is because there was honestly no reason for us to be punished for things as little as failing a question on an exam. We were being punished for some of the most minute things, and those overly, I feel like there's some teachers who just abused their power, because it's a position of authority, so it's a position of power, right? There are teachers who abuse that completely, 100%. There are others who are laid back, of course, you know, not doing the most, but there are others that abused it for sure. And I think that one of the people that abused that power was a teacher that beat me, the teacher that caned me for being outside during break time. My goodness, I will never forget it. I will actually never forget that, because it made no sense in my head. It's break time. It's break time. What are you doing caning me for being outside during my scheduled break time? Like, that's such an abuse of power. You're abusing your power, literally. One of the things that I think I got from 844 was a fear of authority figures. I've worked through it now, but when I finished high school, and just when I finished primary school, going into high school, and even coming here and experiencing a different kind of authority figures, because the teachers are a lot more friendly and a lot more open, I still had that fear. And even to this day, I feel like it's now that fear has gone down. It had just been shaped so much by the experiences that I had. And it could happen even in the smallest of ways. Like, for example, we had this thing where if the teacher walks into the class, you stand up. The teacher walks in, you stand up. I get it, it's a sign of respect. But there are times I remember the teachers being really, really entitled. Like, say for example, they walked in and people have not stood up, or they've walked in and people have taken a second to stand up. They would get offended, and it's just like, bruh. I don't know, just some of the reactions we would get. Those two small things, you know, you register them at the back of your mind, and they contribute to that fear of authority figures, in my opinion. The fact that we were being punished for the smallest of things also perpetuated that fear, because you're afraid of saying the wrong thing, you're afraid of making the wrong move, you're afraid of not being at the right place at the right time, or being at the right place at the right time and you still get beaten for it. You're afraid. You're just constantly afraid. You don't want to be caught doing the wrong thing. And I think that a lot of times we don't realize that it's this system perpetuated this fear that we have, because we don't have these conversations. I haven't had these conversations with my classmates. I haven't had these conversations with people. Even as I have this conversation, a part of me doesn't know how it will be received by people who went through the system, because it's opening a door that's never really opened. We never really talk about the long-term effects of those little things that we go through as children that shape the way we view the world and the way we even carry ourselves. This fear of authority also came from the fact that, say for example, you've been beaten for something and you don't think it was right, or I don't know, you just happen to tell your parent. See, obviously your parent is going to come and complain to the school, yeah? So now, after the parent has gone, you get punished again, you get beaten or you get treated differently for a while. I remember that happened to me. I've seen it happen and I've seen it happen to others, where someone has reported something to their parent, and the parent comes, makes a complaint or talks about it, and then as soon as the parent is gone, the student is punished again. So even if it doesn't happen to you, you seeing it happen to others, you're like, hey, if a teacher does something to me, let me just shut my mouth, because I don't want to be the one that is punished next for talking about something. You can't know how to stand up for yourself in an environment where you are punished for standing up for yourself. I mentioned in the primary school video that prefects were not necessarily leaders. In high school, I saw a difference, because the prefects were actually leading the students to, do things the way they're supposed to be done, and, just carry out things in an orderly manner. But in primary, you don't really have any responsibility of, you are the one that is, telling the students, let's go here. All of you are being told, let's go here, do this, do that, do the other. The prefects, in my opinion, speaking from a prefect's perspective, we were used to perpetuate that fear, because we were kind of just being used as, oh shit, I was a pawn. I feel like we were being used as pawns. Because if the teacher comes and you have nothing to account for, you're the one who takes that punishment, right? I've mentioned that before. And I remember one time we were in class. I think this was class 6 or class 7, somewhere there. The teacher comes in, our English teacher comes in. I think at the time, was he our English teacher? I think at the time he may have been just a principal, but I think he ended up being our English teacher at some point. I just don't remember if he was our English teacher in that particular year. All I remember is, obviously we know him, he's a principal, you're a bit scared, He comes in, I was at the back. I was the prefect at that particular time. The seating arrangement at the time had placed me at the back, so I was a backbencher. Man, being a backbencher was low-key fun, but I was a backbencher. And so now the teacher walks in. Obviously, everyone goes silent. He walks all the way to the back of the class and asks me, "Where's the list of noisemakers?" I had no list to give him, so now I'm sitting there in silence because I was just like, I don't have one. He tells me to stand up. I stand up. He proceeds to slap me. You slap me, Kidero. In front of the class, he slapped me. He slapped me for not having a list of noisemakers. So now, me as a prefect, I have fear because I'm gonna get punished if I don't have a list or if I can't say what was going on. So then I'm obviously doing what I'm expected to do. But now the students are operating from a point of fear because now the prefect will report them. So now that creates a complex relationship with like the both of us. So now for the student themselves, they have like added it's like levels of fear in a way. I hate the way the meaning of being a prefect in primary school was taken because I don't think it was a good experience. I don't think it was a good experience because being and I'm talking about being class prefect specifically. Dining hall prefect, Angasujui dorm prefect, head girl, head boy, or president, deputy president, those ones were not, I feel like those ones were different. And now I'm speaking as someone who was deputy president at some point. Because, I even refused to be president. I was supposed to run for president in class 8. I refused. Because I was literally like, bruh, I've had so many moments of complex relationships with my classmates. And I don't like it. I was tired of it was never just a smooth ride. I was tired of it, man. I was tired. So when it was time to be deputy president or president in class 8, I didn't know what presidency would look like. I remember my reason for not being president being the fact that I couldn't do it again. I just couldn't go through another phase. For the most part, I felt like I could breathe, finally. Teachers and just using their powers for the negative, wrong way. This one is a bit of a light example. It's not too deep, or am I just telling myself that? Anyway, so the way our classrooms were structured, let's say where I'm standing, like here, this is the blackboard. This is the blackboard. So now the teacher's desk would be in front of the blackboard, and it would either be right in front or like at the corner, but basically it would be in front of the blackboard. So this is my desk, and me, I'm the teacher. This is my chair. And now the rest of you guys are the class, and you're facing me in your desks and everything. So I had this teacher that would come to class, and she would select someone randomly and tell you to come. And then you sit on now the teacher's chair before she sits down. And then she would make you sit, turn, and then go back, turn, and then get up and go. It sounds harmless, right? Or nothing too crazy. Okay, let me tell you why she was doing that. When you're rubbing the blackboard, you're writing on it using chalk. So when you erase the blackboard, the two particles are obviously flying everywhere, right? At least within that area. So sometimes the particles would land on the teacher's chair, and so we would have that chalk dust. So now it's us and our uniform that she was using to clean her chair before she sits down. And we thought it was funny. We thought it was a joke. As in, because even her, she was laughing. As in, it was just, this one could have been something like that was just like, haha, very funny. But still, I don't like the fact that it's the middle of the day. I have the rest of the day to go with my uniform that's supposed to be clean, but now it has a patch of chalk dust because I was sitting down wiping the chair for you. I think that was also an abuse of power. It was masked in comedy and just jokes, it's just for fun, but that was also an abuse of power. Because why should your clothes be clean? Why can't you just wipe it? Why should your clothes be clean, but then me, as a student, I should walk around with a patch of... That was annoying. When we were in class 8, I've mentioned this before, I've mentioned panel beating. And I don't know why this was a thing. I truly don't know why this was a thing. After major exams, all your teachers would come to the class after dinner. Because you remember after dinner, we were staying in class for preps. They would come in after dinner, and then they would go over whatever criteria they're using to cane you guys. The teachers would take turns caning you guys. And we thought it was funny because it's just like, again, we are all going through the same things together. So it's just like, oh, Leo kuna paddle beating, hey, uko ready? But looking back, I just think that was the most unnecessary thing ever. Why are all of you coming to the class to beat us? Why are all of you coming to the classroom right now? Why are we eating our dinner in fear, knowing that tonight, after we are done with this food, it's about to get whooped out of our systems? I'm telling you, class 8 was different. Panel beating was a thing, and it was normal. We saw it happen with the class before us, so we knew it would happen with us, and I know it probably happened with the class after us. I don't know if it still happens. I wonder if it's still a thing. I don't know. This particular point, I made this realization about 2-3 years after I was done with primary school, that we had a teacher that was sexually harassing us, and it was again taken as a joke. So when we were in class 8, I think, a teacher came to our school and he was new, and he had this habit, no matter how much we got whooped, the boys got whooped on their butts, but the girls never did, right? And it was always the palms, the knuckles. Man, have you ever been whooped on your knuckles? Hey, with a ruler. You don't know pain. You don't know pain, and you should be thankful that you don't. Or the sole. What is this part called? Is it called the sole? Well, let me just say the bottom of your feet. That's the other place that would get whooped. So sometimes people would double up on socks, but then sometimes the teachers would get smart and they would tell you to take the socks off. Is that smart or is that extra abusive? Ooh! Sometimes boys would double up on shorts. Or sometimes, I don't know why they thought this was slick enough, where someone will slip a book between, as in Sasa, you're wearing your shorts, now you have a book under the shorts, so that when they hit you, it's hitting the book, it's not really hitting you. But the teachers also discovered that. This particular teacher came and he was using his hands he never did it to me, because I ran away the day he tried to do that. I was like, there's absolutely no way. Like, why do you want to grab my ass? Why do you want to grab my ass as a 14-year-old? At your big age, you're here to be my teacher. What the hell are you actually doing? He used to do it for fun, bro. He literally used to do it just because he wanted to. We were sexually harassed. I know a bunch of people who he managed to get to because he would just do it. What the hell was actually wrong? And mind you, I think he had a wife even. Like, what the heck, man? Keeping in mind that we've internalized that fear of authority from such a young age, where if something is happening to you, you don't even think to report it because that has worn off over time. You don't think to report it. I never even told my mom about this until when I was in what? And she's like, why didn't you ever tell me? And I was like, why didn't I ever tell you? I was just like, I don't know. I actually don't know why I never told you. When something is just constantly being paired with comedy and you're constantly laughing it off, you don't see how serious of a matter it actually is. So I think that also played a part. I don't think it was right that teacher got away with that so many times. And I truly think that that's grounds for suing, if you ask me. Because why are you actually touching small children? Are you sick? Are you actually sick? A lot of times when people recount their boarding school memories, their primary school memories, a lot of times, unless they went to British system, because those ones are just different kinds of experiences. Most of the time, people will laugh things off because you don't actually realize how traumatizing it is until you truly sit down and you're like, now by the way, why were we going through some of those things? What exactly was going on? Being someone that witnessed a lot of, oh, you're getting punished because you didn't do well in exam. Just being punished for little things like that. created a subconscious way of living life where I thought that if I didn't present myself in the most perfect way, if I didn't do well in general, then I would be looked down upon. If I failed, if I struggled with something, then I would be seen as a disappointment or as a letdown. You find yourself having some trouble here and there, and you feel like you can't even talk about it because your entire childhood you've been conditioned. And then the kind of way that teachers would talk about students that weren't doing well in class, it was ridiculing them, it was humiliating them. So you're also you're just constantly internalizing all those things, and you feel like you're not allowed at all to struggle in this life. You're not allowed to be anything less than perfect. In my later years, that manifested itself as struggling with asking for help whenever I'm struggling with something. Fear of authority. So you feel like you can't really express yourself to someone that's an authority figure, a teacher, a professor. Now when I came here and all these teachers are being friendly in high school, I'm just like, I'm not used to this. My fear of authority didn't even let me enjoy those moments where I'm just like, I'm experiencing a different kind of authority figure that is more open. Because I felt like I couldn't. And it's not until you unlearn them or work through those issues that you see what a problem it was, or you even recognize that it was a problem, or at least how much it was holding you back. Wow. Kumbavu zangu. Let me tell you something, yeah? Let me tell you something. Fast forward to now, I don't consider myself as someone who has fear of authority anymore because I recognize that that was a problem and I worked through it. Someone that's an authority figure is supposed to guide me and supposed to basically show me the way. Even if someone is my boss, I don't fear them. I respect you. I will address you with, the respect that I need to address you with because you are my boss, but I won't fear you. Because I mean, as in when you're human just like me. Why should I literally fear you? Why exactly should I fear you? Exactly. And struggling to ask for help, I recognize that was a problem, and there was no way around it. You just had to push yourself. You have to get over the, oh, but I'm going to be seen as, but then the people, as in those things that you've internalized about, if you don't do well, if you're not perfect, this is going to happen, you're going to be looked down upon. You have to force yourself to not look at those things in that moment and recognize that you need to talk about something when you need to talk about it, which is what I did. And a lot of these things will be worked through therapy because you don't even realize how much you need to address until you're in those spaces. Some of these realizations, though, I've made on my own, like the fear of authority one, the struggling to ask for help one, that one I worked through it by going to therapy. Because when you go to therapy and you talk to someone, or even if you just talk to a friend, you just realize whether something isn't as bad as it sounded when you talk to yourself about it, or when it's just all in your head. Sometimes you just need to talk to someone and realize, by the way, we all go through the same struggle. There's nothing wrong with going through a season where you're struggling with something. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not less of a person, of a human. You're not less for not being perfect. I think it was unfair for us to be expected to be that from such a young age, because you internalize a lot of those things. So yeah, now I'm not afraid to ask for help. If I need help, I'll ask. I recognize that different resources exist for a reason. For example, being a student, I recognize I used to really, really shy away from going into different offices. Now I'll just pick up the phone, I'll call them, or if I know where the building is, I'll go in. Or just talking to someone that will direct me to the correct resource. I don't care about how someone is seeing me. I've released a lot of those things. I've released them, and I feel like I live my life in a way that's just so It's like a breath of fresh air, because if I need something, I'm gonna go and ask for it. But if I'm stuck, I'll go and ask for that assistance. I'm not in this life to struggle. I think I've been doing a good job of unlearning a lot of those things. When I got to college, I basically now got back into getting involved in things and eventually getting into leadership positions, and I learned what true leadership is supposed to be. Not whatever primary school leadership was. That's it for my what I needed to say. Yeah. I've shared quite a bit about my 844 experience. I hope that it's been, I don't know, insightful. You've gotten some more insight on what that Kenyan system is like. If you did go through it, what are some of the things that came to your mind as you were listening? Let me know. And yeah, just if you have any questions or you have thoughts, comments, let me know in the comments section. And yeah, I hope to see you on the next video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, or night. And yeah, see you on the next one. Yeah, please remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, turn on the notification bell. What else? Do whatever you need to do to stay tuned in. So yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.